The feeling of sincerity. Do you project feeling, brown baggers? Can others feel the difference when you walk into their presence? Is there a difference between the feeling given off by one person in relation to another? The answer to these questions must be in the affirmative to be really successful. If you will take the time to observe each personality in action, you will find that this intangible thing called feeling is one of the major keys to a happier, more successful life. Good and bad feelings reflect on others you meet with an impact that is powerful enough to create a decided change in the reaction of those with whom you deal. You must constantly guard against projecting bad feeling. Think how many times you've had this happen to you. Mrs. Jones comes in and in response to your cheery, "Well, Mrs. Jones, how are you today?" she might say, "Oh, I guess I'm some better, but that pain in my right knee is still there, and I couldn't sleep a wink last night for worrying about my daughter. She was out till midnight with a bunch of kids at a party. I'll declare I don't know what kids you're coming to these days, and it looks as if my husband is going to get transferred. Of course it is a better job, but we'll have to move, and I worked so hard on that garden, and everything is just coming up so good. But if it keeps raining so much, it'll be a ruined thing, and the bugs will be so bad they'll eat it all up. And even if they don't, we'll have to move off and leave it for somebody else. I don't know, Dr. Parker, I just don't know." Now, by this time, you're beginning to wonder why you got out of bed this morning. And if you don't watch, you'll transfer that low feeling to your next. But look what happens if Mrs. Smith, who, under the same circumstances, has a sincere interest in other people, a love feeling for them, the ability to project it in a positive manner. When you say, "Well, Mrs. Smith, how are you today?" she comes back with, "Just wonderful, Doctor. Thanks to you, everything is fine except that one little pain in my knee. My daughter went to a lovely party last night. I'm so happy she's popular. It's as if my husband is going to get that promotion he deserves, and we'll be able to move to a larger house. The people who want to move into our house have four children, and they'll so much good out of the vegetables in the garden. They're nicer this year than ever before. She's made you happy that you've helped her, hasn't she? And happy for her, her family, and all those nameless kids who are going to get fat and sassy on the vegetables out of the garden. She has projected a sincere, good feeling that adds a glow to your day. You can develop this ability too, brown baggers, to make people feel better. Just being with you, regardless of outside circumstances. Every successful doctor I have met has this and possesses this marvelous trait. He inherently has the ability to consciously put himself in the very depths of his patient's problems. His physical feeling is perfectly synchronized with emotional feeling, which gel into an attracting force. People love to talk to this type of person, enjoy his presence, and feel stimulated by his handshake or application of physical treatment. Whether or not they agree with his profession, the average individual will sense the force of true feeling given off by the chiropractor who sincerely lacks this intense interest, no feeling. This attribute is difficult to falsify, but it is possible to acquire and possible to do this by consistent practice. Have you ever known anyone who would answer no to the question, "Do you love humanity?" Of course. While we all profess to a great love for humanity and a desire to do our small part to better the world, we often forget that humanity, right now, this minute, is that person sitting across the desk, or standing beside us in the elevator, or the clerk selling us a pair of socks. This is a fact we must recognize and remember if we are to acquire our ability to project feeling. At first, efforts will be fatiguing, perhaps. Once the brain pattern is established, it becomes part of your personality. In time you will notice satisfaction from the return feeling you receive from others, which only further develops your own ability. The skill grows. The results are truly amazing. Several years ago, I visited an outstandingly successful DC located in the Midwestern state. Words of his success had come to me through other members of the profession and his patients. On walking into his office, I met an average appearing man. When he grasped my hand and greeted me, experienced a feeling of confidence, joy, and welcome. His very presence seemed to make the room glow. I felt that I was the only person in the world at the time. His intense interest in me made me forget the reception room of waiting people. Once again, I had met a man with a natural ability to project feeling. Many successful doctors have told me that they have discovered that they unconsciously project feeling into patients when giving an adjustment. One patient told me several years ago that she could tell immediately whether or not she was going to get results from the chiropractor treating her. Experienced chiropractic patients search for a doctor who projects feeling. As a man said, I tell as soon as he places his hands on my back. Watch this act of projecting feeling of others, brown baggers. The effects will simply astound you. Are you completely busy? The UN Statistical Yearbook estimates that the population of the world is increasing at the phenomenal rate of 100,000 persons a day. This means a city the size of Davenport, Iowa, springs into being every day, 365 times a year. Last year alone, nearly 3 million people added to this planet of ours, or 1/5 as many people as live in these United States. I know one fellow who wants to live in the country. He's moved out of town 3 times every time the city took him. If our population continues to multiply at the present rate for the next 2,000 years, do you know that the people on Earth would weigh more than the planet itself? Interesting, you might say, but how does this affect me, my practice? It does indirectly. Let's see how these figures apply to us now, during the 1960s. The last chiropractic census indicated there are about 20,000 chiropractors through the world. Of these 20,000, however, close examination reveals that only about 17,000 are actually practicing full-time. Why? Are there not enough patients to go around? Statistics prove differently. The Public Health Service Bull reports that out 438 million of conditions involving either activity restriction or medical attention had their own set last year alone. This represents an average of 2 6/10 conditions per person for the year, and viewing it from another figure, 22,000 patients every chiropractor in the world, whether practicing or not. Granted, many of this 438 million office calls were not chiropractors. That is, those cases of broken limb, abrasions, and similar conditions. Millions of them would have responded to chiropractic care more readily than any other type of therapy. Do you know about 9,000 American men die each year of ulcer complications? Yet 9,000 deaths is but a tiny fraction of men who have ulcers. Again, using statistics, we find that 375,000 patients consult physicians because of ulcer symptoms each month. This figure represents 18 7/5 new patients a month for every chiropractor in the world for ulcers alone. And chiropractic can do more for ulcers than all the medical treatment in the world. Competent authorities guess that 10% of the American population, 18 million people, are affected at some time in their lives with ulcers. If chiropractors busied themselves with back conditions only, and if all people suffering from such conditions relied upon their chiropractor, we would not be able to care for all of them if every doctor of chiropractic in North America or all around the world worked 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. There are many more optometrists than chiropractors. There are 4 times as many dentists as chiropractors, and there are half as many chiropodists and osteopaths as there are chiropractors. Medical doctors outnumber the chiropractors about 16 to 1. A large percentage of these men have more patients than they can adequately take care of. If you don't believe it, visit some of their offices near you and see for yourself. What do these figures, comparisons, and analogies mean to us as a profession? Simply this, brown baggers. We are not seeing enough sick people. It behooves us as doctors of chiropractic to give our undivided attention to sick and suffering humanity. You may say, how do I do this when I don't have the patients? The answer, get the patients. Educate the public as to how you can help them. Advertise? Well, not necessarily. Advertising is one medium of educating the public, and advertising is not unethical, incidentally. It's the indiscriminate use of advertising that's unethical, but advertising reaches only a particular group. Educating the masses on chiropractic care follows a universal law, the law of evolution. We see people, we use proper procedure, we get them well or greatly improved, they refer, we realize financial gain, we build and expand, our prestige increases, more patients come in, we establish confidence in chiropractic, more sick people again get well. It is a continuous cycle. Start the cycle to revolving and results are inevitable. Now the important thing to remember in this is we see people and we use proper office procedure. It also behooves us as doctors of chiropractic to prove that we are able to get sick people well more thoroughly and consistently than any other way, and at less cost. Year after year, the cost of medical bills keeps rising. Statistics of a major insurance company show 500,000 American families had medical bills larger than their total incomes. Unbelievable but true. In 1960, the American people will spend more billions of dollars for health than for anything else except possibly food. There are those I know who say that the liberation of humanity through freedom from disease is a dream. They are right. It is a dream. It is the chiropractic dream. Now note these statistics, brown baggers. In a survey we made a few years ago, we estimated that about 387,000 spines were being adjusted daily, or about 19 patients a day per chiropractor. Further research indicates that most chiropractors are occupied only about half of their office hour time, or taking care of only half as many patients as their regular office hours permit. This is indeed a shame. We, as doctors of chiropractic, should average up to 50 patients daily, or about 6 patients an hour. We, as doctors of chiropractic, should be adjusting 1 million spines each day, rather than just less than 400,000. There are people who make things happen, people who watch things happen, and people who don't know anything happened. Which are you? It behooves us to keep completely busy, brown baggers, about 40 hours a week, seeing sick people or working toward your chiropractic success and profession. Not keeping busy all the time we are in our office is not fulfilling our destiny, our mission, and our talent as doctors of chiropractic. Being busy all the time not only fulfills our duty to God through helping suffering humanity, but also produces added income and all the benefits and pleasures that go with such. The niceties that additional income provides add dignity and prestige to you as a chiropractor. This better representation naturally makes for a wider dissemination of chiropractic knowledge. More people talk about its healing powers, more attractive chiropractic clinics are built, and more students become interested in taking up chiropractic as a career. So let's all endeavor to stay completely busy during all of our office hours. Between the golden years of youth and the golden years of retirement come those nickel-plated years when we do all the work. Now is the time. Let's fulfill our destinies to the ultimate. Let's adjust 1 million patients daily, brown baggers, and stay completely busy all of your office hour time.